Hey guys, this is Loma02. We are playing a deck that's near and dear to my heart, our Death and Taxes today in the 100 card singleton event. Missed the last two, so it should be unfortunately a smaller event today because we missed the extravaganza due to work commitments. So a few changes. Obviously, I have Parallax Wave a main now, as well as Palace Jailer main, dropping our 1/5 drop, which was Stonehewer Giant, as well as inclusion of Gideon the Trials. Board, a few revisions as well. We've re-added Cataclysm, which is a card that was originally in the main, went to board, then went entirely. Brought it back. Specifically, it's just a powerful card, powerful effect. I think it's good in top deck wars with red deck wins. My guys are generally better than their guys, leaves them with one land and junk, nothing else. Also, I think it's not bad against many colored decks. Where their mana base is a lot more finicky and a lot more prone to disruption. Um, Although it needs to come prior to like a largish threat. So I want it board. Return to ranks, good against control, obviously. Crackdown, good against green-based, green X decks, which shores up that matchup. Hushwing Griff, interesting because it's good against green X decks, I think, because I like flyers in those matchups, plus it stops ETBs, and it has the random capability of stopping, Splinter Twin or Kiki Jiki shenanigans. Sword, maybe should come out, but it's good in attritional-based matchups. Then we get into our red deck wins cards, so we have Silver Knight, Core Firewalker, Warmth, Mark of Asylum, then Celestial Purge, a little more flexible, and then Absolute Law, all against red deck wins. Then you have Reanimator Package, which includes these three cards right here, and then just a Miser's Disenchant because the card is highly flexible and I think very strong, but not quite good enough for the main deck. So that's the deck we'll be playing today, and we should be starting here in about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm going to go on a pause, and then we'll kick it off. Alright guys, we have started. I think I am going to keep this, although it needs to hit lands because it has a lot of heavier drops. We're on the play, so would rather have a 1-drop. A lot of 3s and a 4. Well, depending on what our opponent is playing, will very much so inform what we start off with. I would like to start off in an aggressive form with the Council's Lieutenant. However, the Land and Arbiter may be right, depending on what we see him play. Okay, fetch land. I think we're still going to lead with this. Do you have a Force Spike? Well, maybe he does. Hitting the land was nice. Okay, Spell Snare. Cool. And the question becomes, do you have more counter magic? Well, now we would have... Well, I guess either way it was getting countered. You want to counter this guy? Assume he's got the counter. Okay. Okay. Alright, miscalc. Nope. Card for card, though. Although we are on the play, which means our cards will be reduced more rapidly. What do you have next? Typically speaking, so I wanted the 1-drop here. Typically speaking, if we can get around his counter magic and get an early threat on the board, it forces him to react. Not a good one in this matchup. I'm going to put probably this online. See if he wants to counter this as well. Okay. Probably a kill spell at end step or beforehand. F6. Do you have the burn? Okay, that's a good one right there. But I'd rather it happen to my Spirit of the Labyrinth. Now I feel like if I can ever get the Gideon online, I can probably win against the control. But so far he's had the right answers every single time, which is not good for us. With a 1-drop, well, I guess the Ultralight still would have gotten a 1-drop because almost all of my 1-drops I believe have 1 toughness. I don't think I'm running. Yeah, I'm not running the Thraben Inspector in this deck. So what have you got? If he misses on lands, we know he's at full gas in hand. If we're fortunate, he'll tap out for something silly, and then we can draw land and we can resolve a Gideon, because the Gideon, I think, will be very strong in this matchup. And it combines well with the Sword of Fire and Ice, which we had 5. Okay, well, another fetch. I assume at this point he has it. We'll play this out. If he wants to counter it, go ahead and counter it. Okay. Well, with him on 5 cards, I'm not feeling very good about this matchup. When they have the right answers early on, it tends to be an uphill battle for us. So far, good answers in deck to what we've got going on. Cool. He's tapping out for something. That's awesome. If we're lucky, it's like a pact negation or something like silly like that, and we can resolve this Gideon. So I think we've played as well as we can, given the cards we had. We'll see. Although maybe the keep was a poor decision. Wasn't very fast. Alright, mountain. Alright, he goes for a land. Cool. A mountain land. Oh, do you have another counterspell? We've gotten Miscalc, Snare, and Counterspell out of hand. He's drawn 2 extra cards to ours because of Electrolyze plus being on the draw. Is it 4? We go to 4 here. Well, if we could ever resolve Sword of Fire and Ice, which is a pretty big if and a threat. Well, I think we do go for it here. Force him to have like the mana leak or something like that. Do you have it? No, you don't. Well, that tends to be very good for us. We'll see if our Gideon stays in play. He could have multiple burn spells or a flurry of burn spells. We'll start creating a little army. If we draw another land, he's got to respond to this, I think, by presenting threats. Could have like a back to basics and lock up a bunch of my land. Don't know if that's per se a winning strategy. Yeah, I didn't like the way this was at initially, but with a Gideon, it definitely puts it up a bit. Now, there are definitely answers to Gideons. Haste creatures and whatnot. Could have, like, Zealous Conscripts. Notice Chandra. Chandra here is not the best, though. Well, let's see if he has answers for all of it. You can blow up my creature. Burning Wish, Arc Trail, Anarchy. Anarchy would be bad for us here. Could just have a simple burn spell on the board, or it could be Anarchy. If it's Anarchy, we do have an interesting play. He doesn't have the land for it. Pyroclasm. Well, he gets my thing. Maze of Ith. Well, that's actually pretty good. That blanks our sword. So his draws have been pretty stellar. Well, counter this if you like. Can't can't attack this turn. There's no point in blowing up the Maze of Ith. I will next turn, though. Do you have a bounce spell as well? Okay, he's got the Grindstone combo. Finds an island. Okie doke. Well, do you have the combo? If you do, you do. I think we go aggro here. If he wants to counter this, is essentially a free card for us. Okay, Force of Will hard cast. And Selfless Spirit. Well, digging for a fast down, it looks like. And what have we got? A deck Fadon. Stealing my artifact. That stinks. It's a good find. And sometimes they get there. Alright, well, his dig is gone. He's got one card in hand. I'm going to put this in play just to stop any shenanigans with Painter's Servant, if he has it. Or he could just have a counter spell in hand. Okay. You know, cycle into what? That shouldn't work that way. Well, we just kind of got screwed on that one. I guess Moto wouldn't let me fetch, or I accidentally clicked through it. That stinks. That's a crappy way. If we lose because of that, that's really not a great way to lose. We probably should have a P wave in play. That's kind of odd. Okay, well, do you find your answer? Or I possibly missed a fetch. I'm not sure. That's pretty crappy though. That was not solid. That's not what would have happened in real life. I probably would have just paid the mana. Fetch, paid the mana, because you definitely don't want him to get up on a card. That's, you know, straight card advantage. 2 for 1 right there. Hate giving those up. Maybe we'll win in spite of it. I don't know. And you get a counter spell. Cool. Nope, can't do it. Well, we've got the 2-turn clock set up at least. Okay. There's a good one. Don't want to really trigger the sword. That gives him the option of killing what he will with it. And I believe I have lethal on board next turn, unless he can respond to my nonsense. Okay. What have you got? Okay. Probably getting engineered explosives, which is infinitely annoying. Hmm. We getting exploded on? Kind of feels like it. Unless he's not playing it. Could have, like, a pithing needle. That is entirely possible. Could just be needle. Yeah, pithing needle, okay. Well, that doesn't worry me as much. Okie doke. Assume pithing needle will name the figure of destiny. Okay, back down to one card. Well, figure of destiny is not going to be an adequate blocker here. Pretty cool. You got lucky there. Yep. And your go at it. Hmm. Do we fire it up? I think we do. I think we go for it. We could obviously get blown out here. Wow. All right. Well, we got there. Yeah, like a lightning bolt or like an effect like electrolyze just blows us out there. It was not a game I intended on winning very easily or didn't expect to win. This I think can come out for this. Hushwing Griff is interesting. I think I do like Core Firewalker. This guy. Not Warmth, it's not a race. I do like Absolute Law. I do like Mark of Asylum. I don't think he's bound to have Wrath effects. Cataclysm is interesting, and actually Cataclysm is good in this sort of matchup, I think. So I think we do cut the wave. I think ironically enough, we cut the hero. I do kind of want to go lower to the ground. Is Palace Jailer going to be good enough? I think I just want like little efficient guys. I'm going to cut 2 more cards. Well, I think Porcelain Legionnaire is unnecessary in this matchup. Do you think the Planeswalkers are still good? Maybe I don't want both swords. I think I do want the white sword, though. Although, like, his standard kill condition is obviously going to be based around use of grindstone, likely with a main deck painter's servant. But I don't know. Declaration stone seems kind of bad. I think we'll go with this. Lower removal a little bit, kind of lighten the curve. Going second. Celestial Purge also interesting. Disenchant may be right too. You know what? No, I'm not going to put the Disenchant in. I mean, yeah, it, like, stops a combo piece, but if he waits intelligently to get it all online, you can't really stop it. Which I think he should have probably waited. Just kept in hand. I can't discard his hand unless, you know, I can't remember if he had the Chandra in play and he was trying to zero, but he couldn't get rid of the combo piece when he was doing it. Yeah, I definitely don't feel like I should have won that one. I mean, we definitely did get a little bit lucky. Although we did have that one, we can call it a misplay or a misclick, whatever we care to. I probably like F2'd or something through the step where I could still fetch my 1 mana with the fetch land. That was unfortunate. That was kind of like sickening. It's just like, just spewing value. Not that that card would have been highly relevant. What do I think of this? I think I'm actually going to keep this. It's kind of like meh. I do want a 1-drop threat. It's like, We're going to keep it, though. Yuck. I don't like it. I don't think Journey to Nowhere is good. I do like the Gideon, though. 1-drop? Alright, well, at least it's a cheap creature that is relevant. Counterspell up. Alright. I'll toss this thing out there. You can go ahead and counter it. Probably will. I'm fine with that, too. Like, that's, as long as I got remand. Remand's the worst. Counterspell? Fine. That's okay. And we kind of knew that was coming. Without the 1-drop, like, you can just expect that. No red mana of note. Which is not a horrendous thing. Well, there's the red mana. What do we have now? A more aggressive start. Okay, an Imperial Recruiter. Well, if this goes into Kiki Jiki, I think I will get the Hallowed Spirit Keeper. My guess would be he's trying to get a Kiki Jiki online. If he does that, he's most likely to clone the Imperial Recruiter to get another combo piece. And then on my turn, alright, Venser a Shaper Savant. Okay, interesting. I'm going to play this out. It'll give him knowledge of it. It's likely to get Vensered on his turn, possibly mine during attacks. Or he already has like the Kiki. Well, I guess no, he wouldn't get Kiki Jiki because he can't cast it yet. He's probably light on red mana. All right, well there's a Desolate Lighthouse to help him get after mana. If you want to bounce it, you can. Okay. Interesting line of play. Let's just start pressuring him. Could have cast 2 spells that turn, but I'd rather just pressure him with a Gideon. I'm going to close the game out fast. Have an Elspeth to kind of do the same. This draw is ended up pretty good with the secondary Planeswalker. Although I think Gideon is a little bit better as a lead because he can turn into a threat in and of himself. Not prone. Alright, Maze of Ith, cool. Alright, what do you get this time? A Trinket Mage. Possibly for explosives. Now just keep on making babies. Do you have a Force Spike? If you're not, you're in trouble. I will attack here, even if it means losing my Hallowed Spirit Keeper. I think it's fine. I'll trade for 2 creature cards. Or 1, rather. Get 1 back. Oh, 2 back, that's right. Cool. Well, I'll start overwhelming him with force here. Probably get a Pithing Needle, but, like, what do you Pithing Needle here? Like, there's just threats all around. Pithing Needle, one of the 2 Planeswalkers, I would assume the Gideon. Armageddon would be the best draw here. A Gideon, okay. Not a bad draw there. I think next we just put another threat online. It has the same effect as Mark of Asylum. So Selfless Spirit has the same effect as Mark of Asylum, but it's also a threat at the same time. That could have been folly, but I think it's right. Mark is good, especially against a deck that uses red removal, obviously, for its mass removal. But if he casts an Earthquake or something along those lines, I'll use a Selfless Spirit. I'll lose one of the walkers. Not quite. A lot of damage. Alrighty. Well, the opponent is definitely under constraints as far as clock goes. Could just find his win con and win straight up. I don't think that's what we're going to see happen here, but I just have the mana at this point. It would require like ritual effects or fast mana that's not available in the format from this position because I believe it's 2/1 plus 3. It's like 6 mana to activate that whole combo. What the combo I'm talking about is the Grindstone Painter Servant combo to cast all of it plus activate it all. Requires a ton of land. I guess that is doable. He has not. Has he played a land yet? No. If he had like Ancient Tomb, he could do it. The problem is if he piecemeals that onto the board. Do I have lethal? Yeah, I do. Nice rip there. Go for our lethal damage. Put it on this so it doesn't get burned out randomly. Although I guess it doesn't really matter. Mark of Asylum. I guess you could have like, I don't know, like Chaos Warp. You know, Mark of Asylum kind of stops any of his burn plans that he had. That should be dead. They could burn off a couple of them. Okay, well, I can't do anything about that. No, I think we'll wait on that. Well, do you have the answer, man? Nope. Okay. Well, good games, man. I'm going to go on a quick break, guys, and we'll check on some of the other games if they're still running. All right, guys, we're back at it. We got Bremp555 playing Moloch. Oh, Sensei drop. That stinks. Alrighty, so we're recording again. We got white deck, white weenie, it appears, with cards like Solitary Priest, unblockable 2/1. Well, a Shadow 2/1, unless you're playing, like, you know, Luterial Core or something. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, so now we have the Path of the Beatdown. Curse Scroll is a good card advantage engine against players like Moloch, who I assume has like Wrath of Gods and counter spells. Curse Scroll can just go unchecked for a while if your hand gets small enough. So... Oh yeah, it would have been a disaster. You're right, man. Red deck wins does not do so well against White Weenie or Death and Taxes. It's just, you know, it's like the whole mid-range versus aggro argument. Like, white deck wins, if you will, is a little more mid-range than red deck is, just a tiny bit. But it is more permanent-based. So I think it tends to win because of that. Its creatures are just better. A lot of first strike. A lot of good board options as well. Interesting. Okay, well, I guess he wants to start getting advantage. He knows the opponent's deck at this point. This is probably a match 2 or 3. I believe match 3. Yeah, looking at the player's clocks, should be a match 3. So he may know that that card just doesn't have value in the late game. Although he could be lamenting that option if his opponent drops like a batter skull or something next turn. Um, Not fixed on white mana, although he did brainstorm at some point. Didn't quite catch when he did that. What part of the turn he did it on, or if he end stepped it, or if he did it main. Obviously not a concern to play around discard. We have here a bounce spell. Oh, it's probably the 2/3 flying thing. No, a repeal. Okay, well that's actually good because he gets to draw. That's like a ton of value. So that goes back. He blocks here. Ton of value there. That's pretty cool. Okay, let's just white mana to Wrath of God at some point on 7 cards in hand, though. Could just time his opponent out if he doesn't die randomly. Although I expect that he probably has a Wrath of God effect in hand, so his hope is that he dumps his board, which he's going to be want to do, to utilize the Curse Scroll to maximum effect. Curse Scroll is great in tap-out style, not threshold, Hellbent decks. They like to expend their hands. Personal tutor for what? Yeah, you're kind of highlighting the facts. This is the thing that kills me. Like, Mystical Tutor should be a thing in this format, I think. I don't know about the Vampirics, but I think Mystical should. I was Terminus, so he's not going to play his hand out, which also keeps him off Curse Scroll. So he really has Terminus on the top deck. Yeah, if Mystical Tutor were a thing, like I just think it makes this play a lot more elegant. So maybe he doesn't have the availability. I mean, or maybe he has another threat. If he has another threat, it's obviously he wants to cast that threat as well as swipe the board. So you're not going to see Bremp develop his board anymore, I don't think. And Bremp may just randomly win this one. Although if he clocks, he clocks. And the reason I say that is because I think typical White Weenie is actually slightly disadvantaged against Azorius control. That's one of the things that I tend to like about my variant of the deck is that I think it has a little more range against mid-range decks and against control decks. I do think it is slightly worse in the mirror though. Then hopefully we can just when we play, we're probably going to play a white deck wins matchup at some point, or white weenie matchup on our Death and Taxes variant. And hopefully we can play better and just get them. So that's all gone. He gets a 2-for-1. Interesting to tap that. Maybe he wants to play around Wasteland and leave his lands up. Could have Cryptic Command. If we don't see him play another land, I would expect Cryptic Command. Nope. Okay, just a Caracas. Which is a good one. The starting hand had a lot of land in it. 5-3. Although he start utilizing. If he wants to eat up his clock, he'll start utilizing the Curse Scroll, which depending on his hand, if it's like all plains, he may hit. What does he name? Plains? If he kept that many lands, I don't think I like his keep. Oblivion Ring, so he misses. What did he name? Oh, it doesn't say. Probably should. Well, he has Oblivion Ring. Cast Blind Obedience. Okie doke. Well, the extort portion of that's going to be slightly annoying for his opponent. Although it in and of itself does nothing. Well, that's a big guy. Pretty sure we're going to see a counter spell here of some sort. Yeah, miscalc. There we go. Well, I've thought of putting Curse Scroll in in my Death and Taxes deck. I don't know. It is a card advantage for one, which tend to be good. Like also, it's kind of similar in a way to like Tithe. Cards like Tithe, where you can get 2 for 1 advantage off a 1 mana spell. Well, that's a strong one. It's going to come into play tap, but he's going to draw a ton of cards. He's going to start beating, I suppose. Curse Scroll down. That's a good one right there. So that is a strong one. That's a 2 for 1. Actually, I believe it's a fairly expensive card. It should be. It's a good one. Myriad Landscape, card I've actually kind of fallen in with in my control builds. Well, there is a Gold Meadow Harrier, 1/1. Probably extorting here. Only makes sense. And he wants to use his Curse Scroll. We know he has an Oblivion Ring in play or in hand. Is this a Batterskull? It's big, but it's a Planeswalker. He could just win. That's a Wormcoil Engine, which is not great. I mean, Gold Meadow Harrier will actually beat that all day long. Yeah, as I said, I don't think you attack there. I think you actually do hang back. Does he blast it? Does he blast his face, or does he blast... Hey, blast face. Okay. So he's going to race. Oblivion Ring again. Well, if the Gold Metal Harrier goes away, then I think this game is over, unless he can get rid of the Worm Coil. There's an Oblivion Ring for the coil. Interesting that he did that. I guess he wants to play around him just having a removal for the Harrier. And a Sira Avenger. Still kind of blanked by the Celestial Colonnade. Though the mono white player could be running into a Wrath here. Well, no, that's a good one, though. That'll steal the Sira Avenger. Oh, it's artifacts as well, right? Yep. Can he still activate his Celestial Colonnade? No, he cannot. Yeah, I was going to say, I figure he had something else because he tapped the Myriad Landscape, which is something you generally tend to want to leave open unless you cannot activate it. Well, you should cast something now, or you should have had something to cast if you tapped the Myriad Landscape. I think you wanted to. Repealing what? Oh, Personal Tutor. For Sphinx's Revelation? That would make sense to me. Sphinx's Rev is probably good games. That would mean he's blocking this turn. I would think. I don't think the... Well, what does he get? Alright, counsels a judgment. I don't think that's as good as you think it is. Although he can steal the Harrier. Okay, so he steals the Harrier with the shackles. So I would block if I were him. I think you just want to keep your life total as high as possible. Steal the Harrier. Blow up. So you should block here. Attack with both. I don't think that's right. Alright, you should block, I think. I think blocking makes the most sense. He has inevitability on clock. Oh, an answer. That's cool. Huh. Do you have an answer to the shackles? Because if he does, then you still have a game. Once Worm Coil goes unfettered, though, you're going to see this go very poorly, I think. Should definitely untap those. Interesting. Wonder why he keeps on using the Myriad landscape like that. I think you'd want to pop it. Maybe he's concerned about time. Alright, yep, Moloch wins. Huh. Well, very interesting. So I'm going to go on a quick pause, guys, until the next round starts, and then we'll get our next match. Alright, guys. We are playing against player Dots. Very strong player. Yep, this keep. Not the best, but... So we're very likely to use the Journey to Nowhere on turn 2. Hope to draw another 2-drop and land. Follow up the Seer Avenger on turn 4 after casting turn 3 Reckoner. Kind of the game plan. We may have to blow the Journey to Nowhere just to utilize our mana on a mana dork. But we'll have the option to do that. Just depends on what he casts turn 1. He could just mess our hand up too. Not an aggressive start. Okay. Well, that is nice. That gives me something useful to do with my mana. Although, it does also stop my clock a little bit for the Boros Reckoner on the following turn. Strong considerations here. Okay, he needs to get green mana with that, I would presume. We shall attack. And there's the green mana. Do we have a creature card? Well, we get a Seer Avenger off here. If we have a mana dork, hopefully a non-hexproof mana dork, i.e. not the Sylvan Caryatid. If it's that, it's problematic. Okay, for 1. Cool. Would assume... Yeah, Deathrite? If you want to cast an instant or fast effect now, that'd be fine. Okay, cool. You blow up my Sierra Avenger? I would assume so. I would assume we're getting terminated or something along those lines. That's cool. Yep. Fine by me. Takes the 2. That needs to go away. Oh, Moto. Why? Oh, Moto. Well, cast what you will, I suppose. That stinks. That's the second Moto error of the day, or mouse click error of the day. Yeah, we definitely meant to tap his Deathrite Shaman. It's very unfortunate for us. He's obviously going to use it. A little dirty, but hey, it is what it is. I think he knows I'm a good enough player. That's what I intended to tap. We have a Planeswalker? No, this silly thing. Okay. Hmm. Well, he wants to flip his thing. So we'll cast our Containment Priest so it does not flip. Waste his whole turn. Interesting. Okay, gain some life. You have a removal spell? And even a mind sensor. Okay. Well, if we get another turn here to Armageddon him, I think it'll be very difficult for us to lose. I'll trade you. Oh, what have you got? Land. Nothing. Well, that's 8. No joke. Elspeth was definitely not the draw we wanted. We definitely want land or... Okay. Game is certainly not over. Although land this turn would have been very strong. Flicker Wisp... I guess Flicker Wisp post-combat just... Oh, actually, you know what? Flicker Wisp post-combat would allow me to flash the Journey to Nowhere, killing the Knight and killing one other thing. Yeah, land would have been the best draw for sure. Alright, so this thing is going to die. Well, looks like it's time for me to draw every 4-drop in the deck. That is very not good. Okay, well, what do we got now? You have a threat or a mana dork. I feel like he probably does. Yeah, hitting 4-drop after Gideon. tends to be bad. Smart play there, just in case we're holding Wasteland. Although at this point, I just want to draw a white source. Okay. Well, I can't do anything to stop your, what I assume is an abrupt decay or something along those lines. Okay, well that gets rid of one of my things. Okay. Get in there for 2. Well, gosh, I guess we're just gonna miss. That stinks. 4-4-3. Yuck. Well, he's hitting lands now. Looks like he's gonna make his way out of it, which is unfortunate because I feel like we were very favored this game. Yeah, there you go. And there's a good answer to my threats, especially the one I have in hand. Yeah, I think we just lost this one. That's very unfortunate. Because it took significant luck on his part, significant misfortune on our part. Well, there's a 1-drop that just dies to his Liliana. Pass it. Oh, Moto. Some days. Frustrating way to lose, though. So I think it does involve some significantly high variance. I think we were bound to hit 1 land in a 35 land deck, or 36 land deck, 35 at this point in that time frame. Unfortunately, we did not, and we're going to lose because of it here, I believe. Yeah, there's a 4-4. Well, infinitely frustrating, but what can you do? Sometimes they draw out of it. His deck's only 36 lands, so it's 1 more than ours. And it requires a lot more to go right for it as far as colors go. So I feel like he had to get pretty lucky there. Are we just dead? Not necessarily. If we draw land into land, we could possibly win. So this is like 6 damage. No, we can't. If he starts damaging us with the Death Right as opposed to just blowing it on casting spells, then he can kill us pretty quick. So my thinking was I could get an Elspeth down and make this student fly. Interesting line of play. I don't think he needs to cast more threats here. He could just find one that wins him the game. Puts Huntmaster back in. Okay. Would he have more land? Yeah, it looks like he does. Well, now we are quite dead. I think the right play was to just damage us, though, to ensure that we were dead. Well, there's the land we needed. And are we dead now? Yep, just bad ordering. Got a pocket of land now. And if we'd hit 1 more turn earlier, yeah, we could have flown over and killed him. He has Avon, but he wouldn't have seen it coming more than likely. Would have kept on attacking. He could have just a kill spell for this, too. His mana is fixed again. Fixed once again. Okay. And we'll concede there. And hope for better luck next time. I think we played that soundly. I have to go back and look. I don't think we misplayed anything on that. I think we played as well as we could. And just unfortunately got a little unlucky. Hmm. I think this is about right. I don't think I want Cataclysm in this matchup. Hushwing is interesting, but I think I like the rest of the cards I have. That was an unfortunate sequence. All we have here is an unkeepable hand. We'll mull this. Well, looks like we may just lose to mulls. Yeah, I guess we're keeping it. Yuck. This is not a good one. Yeah, mull the 5 on the play. Probably losing. Sometimes it happens, though. Sometimes you just miss on lands and, you get mana screwed. Not a way you want to lose. Want to play, tight games where you play tight, you win. But it is Magic. Sometimes that does not come to pass. Are we going to get Path to Exiled here or Swords to Plowshared? Kind of feels like it, or he could just be fetching. Fatal Push? Yep. Alright. Well, what do you got next? Probably winning this one on the draw with a full keep. I don't think I stand a chance against that. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, limiting even more what I have. Yeah, mold the 5, yuck. Oh, I think we got to do this. I think we're caged into it. But him on 3 cards, I think we're probably dead here. Yep. I mean, if we can ever land the sword. Need to hit running lands, though. Yuck. Yeah, I think we're just dead. Well, here's what we're going to hope for. We're going to hope we hit a land card. And we can attack with the relic or the soldier and get back the relic seeker, I suppose. Kind of spotty. Can activate the land, but I'll just block it, I think. Or you could just have, like, another good threat. Yeah, it looks like we're losing this one. That's an unfortunate way to lose. I mean, mulling to 5, and then, the last sequence of kind of like poor variance. Okay, well, it already has flying. I guess the Elsbeth is dead, double dead. Yeah, we're just going to get beat to death this game. Unfortunate. But when you mull to 5, it's just going to be almost impossible to win with this deck, I think. Oh, Whip Quarter. I mean, it's mildly interesting. Is there a way we get through? No, I think our way to victory is with this, so... Oh, yep. Yeah, when he has his best draw against our worst, we're probably going to lose. I don't know if it's his best draw, but it's a solid draw. Yep, okay, that's dead. Yep, the old salty mold of 5. Ugh. And I think we are just dead here. Yeah, it's 3 plus 4. I can't even block this thing without losing my critter. Yep, we're dead. I mean, I'll block, and I'll live for another turn, but I can't think of an out. Oh, it's flying? Yeah, no, we're just dead. And good games, buddy. Yep. So, let's go ahead and report our results. We got 0-2 there. Unfortunate way to lose when you mull that poorly. And then, we had significantly poor drawing post-Gideon. Although I have to go back and look at it. Maybe, so there was one misclick that I guess, essentially was a misplay involving the use of mana to tap my own one mana tapper, Gideon's Lawkeeper. If it had tapped one of his, I wonder if I had gotten the extra 2 points of damage into win in the mid game before the game landslide out of control. Hard telling. So let's check out some other games. I'll have to go back and look at that to see if that's the case. It may have been. A misclick may have cost us. Okay, so we've already seen both these decks, and I'm gonna wait on. I'm gonna go back to this one. Both those players are a little slower playing, so not as entertaining. Plus, you've already seen that matchup, which I think technically this one's still in boards. I think technically should go to the red blue deck. I think that deck is better against White Weenie than White Weenie is against it. And then we have a control versus White Weenie with a drawing engine. Well, but an active moat. Moat's a beatable card, though. Certainly not the one you want to have to beat. You prefer to beat. I prefer to beat Wraths, especially with my build. Not enchantments. Although, if you build it right and you have a significant number of flyers, then you can gain a lot of advantage off of that. Smuggler's Copter got killed by what? Oh, it got countered. Okay. Oh, he's just leveling this thing up. Interesting. I guess you have to if you don't have anything else to do. 8 cards in hand, though. You should be able to do something. It definitely should involve playing lands. Although he is slowly sculpting his hand. Well, playing more lands. I think you keep on fleecing them out, too. If you never hit him with a Gideon and get a flyer beforehand, then the game is likely over. That's what you do. You keep on fleecing lands with the land tax. Land tax pretty OP. I like the card. A lot of folks think it's not that great. I think it's good in these style of decks. Gains virtual card advantage. I mean, it gains real card advantage and virtual card advantage off your top deck. Which is really why you do it. I mean, that's a creature, I suppose. Although, I don't think I'd play it out. I think I'd wait till I found a way to do it with the moat. Because it's just going to make this whole little army he's building fodder for Wraths of God. I also hope he didn't play a land out. He should not have played a land out there. Just let him keep on playing lands. The problem... Well, so he needs a specific answer to the moat. If the moat was not in play, this place that ML is in would be a lot easier to get out of. Because he needs specific cards to answer moat, but I guarantee you he has a very solid handful of threats that just don't play around moat. What are we going to see here? Okay, this thing. No King Whiskers. Go on a quick pause, guys. Use the restroom. I'll be right back. Alright, guys, we're playing again. We got White Weenie, and then I don't know what Dave's on. Davia. Alright, well, we're going for the Myriad Landscape, which means that, I would assume ML will continue to fleece lands out of his deck. Although, at a certain point, you don't want to take them all out, or you want to leave some in hand, so in case you do get the dangerous Gideon play, you can set up some more land drops afterwards to continue casting your spells. There's a point at which you want to stop fleecing them. Although he may not even have any left. He may be out of land. Let's see here. His graveyard is 14 cards minus 1, so 13 lands plus 7, 20 lands. It's close. So I guess what happened here is one of the players, I think Goldenlin had 101 cards. May have been a sideboarding error. I don't know. But unfortunately for him, that's going to be a game loss. Kind of an unfortunate way to lose. Pretty miserable. Not the Mardu War a Reaper. I guess you just get the Snapcaster, play around Oshutai's command or something like that. Or any other recursion. Or it could be Glenalandra, I don't know. Glenalandra's probably more right, I think. Let's see how this game's going. Nope, that's game over. That's a game win. Don't know why he showed him his whole deck. And that's what that combo does if you don't have an answer. Although if he had like yeah, you probably just want to F6 to that. Yeah, okay. Well, Doc Pringle's got that one. Well, Jace can terminus away the board if he likes. My guess would be what we'll probably see is a ponder, though. Well, if he gets him to fight this... Yeah, if he gets him... Okay, he has that. Okay, well, that's 1 mana. 1 mana for 1 mana. You have another removal spell? Unmake? Be kind of cool if you got him to tap out and he can get his moat and then one-shot him. Maybe I was going to get low on time here. Alright, whipping up the Sulfur Elemental to kill off, well, a significant portion. Also has a life link, although this has first strike? No. So you let that pass, then you still lose on the next turn, though. Or you would. So that's a 3. Alright, that's 2, 4. Alright, that's enough. That is 6 damage total on the backswing, unless he has a way to answer that. We'll go back to this game in a second. And I just attack in for lethal. Yeah. Alright, this is still boards. We'll go on a quick break, guys. Alrighty. So it begins. I believe this is a game 3. At least I hope so, because ML is they're both low on time. So I assume it's a game 3. We know ML conceded the last one, probably due to time concerns. Beating a moat with minimal disenchant effects is not easy. Ideal start is an aggressive 1-drop here. Yep, there you go. That is it. Hopefully his opponent does not have Caracas. That would obviously invalidate his Maru Island. Go. Alright, if he drops a 2-drop, an aggressive 2-drop, probably in good shape. Yeah, that's a good one. That also invalidates. Now, Force Spike is the card that gets him, or Spell Snare. Or Daze, or Force of Will, I suppose. No, I think it's going to be quite challenging until turn 4. If he can follow it up with like a Thalia or something like that, because his opponent's not going to counter any spells at this point. What else do you have? A Core Skyfisher. So if he does this into a 1-drop, that is pretty good. Pretty busted. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good start. That's a good, strong start. There's 4 damage to the face, and go. Yeah, I think Moloch's going to have a tough time getting out of this one. Strong one. That's a good one to put down now because he probably should be leery of a Wrath of God effect coming on the following turn. If his opponent intends on living, a Wrath of God effect needs to happen, I would think. But it's also going to continue to put him up on cards. There are possibly other answers. I mean, like Periphery Nodes. Periphery Nodes would be pretty bad too, though. It's just like 1 card a turn every turn, but like the Sword of Fire and Ice you get to bang in there. Yeah, I think we're going to see a Wrath of God effect here of some sort. Supreme Verdict or WOG. Just Day of Judgment. Okay, same kind of idea. So he gets all the critters. ML is going to get to draw more lands now. Go up to 8, play land out 4 lands, play 1 to 2 threats. Or play 1 threat and lock it up with the Sword of Fire and Ice. I think you want to play your land first. Play around Daze, man. Ugh. Play around Daze, brother. I guess he doesn't like playing around Daze. Or he wants to discard those lands. I guess he wants to continue to get value off of it. I don't think he had to do that, though. One of the problems, I think he wanted to go to 4 lands there. His opponent has to go up on mana anyways. To start presenting threats, plus leaving up counter magic. You have a secondary Wrath effect, or like a Venser or something, I don't know. Yeah, I would be fine with that if I were ML. That is A-okay if I am him. And if he has a disenchant effect, he could just win this turn, I think. Yeah, it's 8 plus 4, 12 damage, if that thing hits him. A lot of damage. You probably want to put one more 1-mana threat down that has 2 power. No, he doesn't have it, evidently. Interesting. I think you want to do that, though. Force him to Wrath. Hmm. Could just have something like Big Elspeth, which would probably win him the game. Unless ML just had, like, Declaration Stone on his turn. It's one of the effective ways to get around that card. You know, our Council's Judgment, you just fight your way through, eventually. Yeah, that's what land tax does. Just wears your opponent's card out, or hand out, slowly but surely. Nothing. Okay, well, I'm going to force him to 1-for-1 these threats. Or it's like a Venser or something, maybe. Venser would be good here. Be okay. Still a lot of mana to pay. Well, you just go to attacks, I think, unless you have, like, a Bone Splitter, and then you attach the Bone Splitter to the Human Soldier. Okay. I don't know why you'd play that right now. Could have a follow-up play that he wanted to do initially, but he also wanted to get this online, so he played it in first main. If he doesn't follow it up right here with something that does something right now to kill his opponent. Alright, Thalia. What was that game? Would appear not. Decree. Okay. Well, that stops the soldier. It does not stop the Mirroring Crusader. I don't think this card is per se great. It is going to stop. Buy him some time. He could interestingly just block the Crusader. No, he does not. Okay. Well, he needs to present another threat then, or wrath the board. And a land is going to the bin. High market or life, I suppose. Post blocks. Yeah. He goes to 4. I mean, he can block this thing, take 4. Now he's present another blocker or wrath the board. Yep, there it is. That's why I kind of was not a huge fan of ML's line last turn. I think you just need to attrit his hand, force him to use his like many for one answers for, you know, as opposed to 1-for-1 answers unless he has them for one of your threats. It just drops his card economy so much. You know, there's a mirror entity that's going to be size massive with all the land he's got. Good to see a counter spell here. Nope. In honor of the Pure, a card I'm not a fan of. I think you'd rather just have a dude. ML disagrees with me. A lot of people do. I think they're wrong about that, though. Oh, there's a Gideon. I think Gideon's dead, though. Only I think I know it. It'll buy him 1 turn. Well, if he gets Swords to Plowshare here, that'd be bad. Getting bounced. Yep, okay. Into the Royal. I don't know why he keeps on playing lands. I think that's a free attack. He should probably get in there for the 6. This is a 6/6, right? Yeah. That doesn't make sense to me to plus it. I guess it buys him more time, but I think it's very reasonable to expect that ML is to present multiple threats this next turn. Unless he has another Wrath, but he's already spent 2. We know he's a Moten deck. He may also have a Day of Judge, or I'm sorry, a Wrath of God. Could have stuff like, what is it called? Austere Command. Don't think that tends to be as good. It's just not mana efficient. It's much more flexible. Well, there's the Mirror Entity. Does he get countered here? It's a good one. Those are easily the 2 best cards. I don't think you want them together. I think you want Ancestral Vision plus Mana Leak with the Restoration Angel. I think I tend to believe that Brainstorm and Impulse are stronger from this position. The Resto, once you know about it, actually becomes a lot weaker, but I think most players would value it more highly, as it appears he does. He's going to cast it on end step? No, he does not. Kind of made sense to cast it end step there. More land. Can that thing be destroyed next turn? Very close. The Resto does not really tango with those 2 things, though. You get another Wrath? Yeah, there's the Wrath. He either had it or he found it. That would be why he did not cast his Resto Angel. Could just get him on clock here. Interesting. No more plays. I find it hard to believe he's out of creatures. Maybe he just has all land in hand. Or he's just dead drawing. Yeah, ML should be at 16 right now. I'm sorry, 14. And this makes... So like Gideon could be killing him right now. There's one turn that his opponent missed an attack with Gideon, I think. I think it made more sense. This is a really interesting line of play. He could just kill him here. Maybe he's worried because he's not playing anything. Maybe he's worried about like Swords to Plowshares or Path to Exile. That could be it. Gideon is doing some good work too. Yeah, maybe that's what he's thinking. Is that his opponent ML has Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares, which is possible. He's been ditching a lot of lands, but his hand is very land rich. If I'd been counting properly, I'd be able to tell you. My guess would be about 4 to 5 lands in his hand. Or of Silence. This is not a card I think should be in this deck. But hey, everyone can agree to disagree on some things. Well, I'm to get the sword back into play. The sword could win rapidly. Although the sword can't hit the opponent because of Gideon. Maybe as a flash creature, he's hoping he'll attack with the Gideon. Here's the Angel. I don't know. I do not know. Yeah, it looks like Mulk has got him here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this game's over now. He probably put a 1/1 into play. Well, he could rapidly kill him, too, by just pumping the Resto. Well, that being said, I think he plus the Gideon before he does. I think I would have preferred to see. I'm pretty sure he found this with Jace. There's another line that was interesting. It's like, all right, he's not going to attack. Interesting. The other line that I think is interesting. So you have a flash creature here. Now path to exile. Well, he did have it, so he's justified in that. I don't think this is doing him much good, though. I think he's going to clock regardless. If his opponent can seal this up or not. Oh, there's an Emancipation Angel. Which, having the sword on there, return. I think you just return the sword. Yep, return sword and re-equip sword. The sad thing is, I will see. Maybe Malt can take it down with Azorius control. I think he should be playing. He's won this, I'm pretty sure. He should be playing against Dots next round. I think he is the 2-0 seed right now. Assuming this is a victory, because I think it is. I think this is a pretty clear win. Wonder why he pumped the soldier. Can't get through. Well, that'll allow it to get through. He'll get destroyed by Gideon next turn. My guess would be. They have every single Wrath. That tends to be good. Yep. Destroyed. Yeah, the game is pretty over here. I think ML can just concede it. What could he have? Cataclysm, if his opponent has no counters in hand. Cataclysm, float a bunch of mana. Okay. Well, it still has the 6/6 Gideon, 10/10 effectively with Elspeth. Although I think the smart play is just to, well, down to 1. I don't know, if ML could get him on 1, that'd be pretty funny. Definitely not a favored matchup for Azorius control. But, when they do have, like, the multiple Wraths, oh, there's a Core Firewall. I guess he boarded it in just as an early blocker. Very cautious player. I think at this point I would get in there with Gideon just to end this game. That could be wrong, though. Yeah, with a follow-up threat, of course I would. Yeah, I'd let him, because he's going to clock out anyways, even if he kills the Gideon. Could have the Swords to Plowshares, but he's already shown the path to exile. Nothing. Yeah, especially on Singleton. If this was like, 4 of copies, then I'd understand his line of play a little better. But I think at this point, I assume that he's on dead cards. And lethal. Not quite. Yeah, that'll flip back to hand. Not quite lethal. Celestial Flare. Well, which one do you kill? Alright, he finally goes for the tempo line, and as opposed to the card advantage line. I'm still in the stack. Get. You could just let that happen. It's not that relevant, frankly. It repeals the... All he's got to do is tap mana. Well, oh, we already F6'd. Well, that would be the game. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. Yeah, I think you just concede here. Oh, he's out of time. Okay. Well, this painful experience has finally ended. I guess not. Malk should just probably finish the game. Yep. Oh, there we go. That game is over. Let's see what our next match is going to be. Oh, we've already logged off. That was an exceedingly long game, with both players expending their full 25-minute timers. Pretty brutal. Game probably didn't have to go that long, but then again, I mean, if you're not as familiar with your deck or it's your first time playing it, you can definitely understand that. So round 3 versus someone, we shall see. What would I rather play, the mirror or against Azorius control of some sort? Probably Azorius control, but I'll play either. Either should be fine matchups for us. I think Malk, if Malk gets lucky, he could probably beat Dots. I don't think his deck is favored against Dots' deck, though. I think Azorius control is a little too slow. I think Dots' deck has a lot going on to kind of counteract a passive plan. Well, we're still going on about that. Mistakes happen. I definitely do not think that player Goldlin was trying to get an unfair advantage. And frankly, it's obviously, like, unless you're kind of a poor decision maker, it's pretty poor cheat. One, it doesn't really up your odds of drawing your out. I mean, it puts an out in there, but you're also, you're reducing odds of drawing any given card in the deck by adding more. You could be intentionally also mana screwing yourself by a few small percentage points. Not to mention, it is apparently obvious how many cards you have in your deck upon starting a game. So I don't think he intentionally cheated. He's played it for a long time, and I've never seen an issue with the player's integrity. It was just something that someone was saying. I was like, I don't think so. I think it's just an error, just a mistake. Or they could have been working on the deck beforehand and, accidentally left an extra card in, because there's not a filter for 100-card singleton. Well, guys, I guess we'll go on a quick pause until we get the next matches up. Should have round 3, and then that should be it for us. I'll be right back. Well, this is an interesting hand, guys. I think we actually keep this on the play. Yeah, we're going to keep this. And hope that our turn 1 champion of the parish does not get removed. Well, not the draw I wanted. I definitely want land. Yeah, mental misstep. Could be, and then that makes this hand significantly worse, but the Smuggler's Copter, not taking 2. Okay. Well, then go. feel like he's very likely to have removal here. No, just that thing. Well, no land. Not good. Riskier keep on our part. Although if we do hit land from this point, Knight of the Right Orchid is not a bad one there. Yep. And sack it to find a forest, I assume. Forest or what? Swamp or forest? Probably forest. Playing Jund of some sort? Yep. Yeah, missing land too is not good for us. And he's up on land. Solemn Simulacrum. Alright, well, opponent's got some land drops. Land? Well, it looks like we're going to get punished pretty hard here. Well, Well, we'll deny him the card and hope big mana dead end draw. Don't know if that's a hopeful strategy. It's a pretty hopeful strategy on our part, though. We did keep a one-lander. But if it drew one, it went off. It is not, though. Okay, a big thing. Oh, a land. Cool. Not the one we were really looking for, but all the same. I will swing back at you. A tech edge. Not useful here. Well, do you have the burn? I don't want to get 3 for 1 tier. So if he has the burn, he'll get one of our things. Yep, got it. Block 1 damage out. Not good. Well, a land. Hallowed Spirit Keeper seems like a way to get back into this. I don't think I'm going to block this. Vorath Stronghold, value deck. A lot of ramp. Although I think this is a weaker play, this guy right here. It's not bad here, though. Alright, Finks. A lot of life gain. I think we can get around it, but if he has another threat, yeah, well, it's not a threat. That's kind of junky. Could have blown up my land, did not. Interesting. Yeah, that's fine. A lot of life gain. Do I want that? I think actually I may. If he wants to redraw an Arborback Stomper, I'm fine with that. I can first strike it to death. And we'll get in there with this little guy. Well, let's get this filigreed familiar out of the way. Riskier. Yep. Cool. Well, maybe we got through all of his life gain. I don't know. We're going to see. I think this... I know it is worse, but it's going to kill him faster. And I think I got him on the ropes right now. I think we need to keep him there. Yep. Pump the crappier one and get in there for a lot of damage. You can blow that up if you like. I kind of want to keep him from blowing my Thalia up. I don't want him to get more value off any burn spell he may have in hand. You have a flash creature card? Okay, yeah, you got her. You gonna blow up my land? That's fine too. Nope, we just got a concession. Okay. Alright. That's why, I was saying, like, life gain is good, but you've got to impact the board too. And our opponent managed to land down. I think Crackdown is going to be good in this matchup. I think it is better. Oh, no, this is going to be good too. Let me take out a quarter. A quarter is like one of my least favorite cards in this deck, but I still haven't cut it. Celestial Purge is interesting as well. I haven't seen enough of the deck yet, though. I want some more beaters. I don't think I want Cataclysm. Hushwing Griff is interesting. A lot of ETB creatures. I have a few myself, though. What does it really get, though? Flicker Wisp? Knight of the White Orchid. think it may be good enough, although it is 1 toughness. Maybe just good enough. I think this card is worse in this matchup, especially in the draw. It's just too slow, and it like dies to like just a tear. Let's do this. Give this a shot. I do think I like Hushwing a little better. Like Hushwing is good in the Green X matchup because you saw a lot of ETB creatures, a lot of value guys. Well, this hand is not great, but I think it's a keep. Yuck. All right, we're gonna keep it. I don't like it. We'll pop the Windswept on our first turn. Hope not to draw a land off the top for our first draw. So not the best of hands, but I don't think you can mull this either. I guess you could, but the sword gives it some like long-term potential. All right, tapped, cool. Well, it's a land. But of the lands we could have drawn, it's one of the better ones. Taking the damage? No. Okay, a Grim Lavamancer. Takes the 1. If we're lucky, he attacks in with his Grim. If he knows he can't activate it, we can get an easy snap block out of our Containment Priest, and then resolve a Sword of Fire and Ice the next turn. We may get there. Okay. Well, he's going to lament playing that guy out, unless he has more redundant means of destroying artifacts. I'm going to wait on the sword. And I'm not going to attack this turn. It should be a silly trade. And I'm hoping to get the sort of the Fire and Ice attached to one of these silly things. Do you have a kill spell? Okay, just this guy. It's a land, though. Okay. Well, it's going to make tapping annoying now. Although it doesn't mean I don't have to take damage off of my silly thing. Should I fizzle this? No. We're going to leave up the Brave the Elements here. Just so, yeah, this is fine. So we're not going to go to 7 on the stud. But next turn, so what we have set up is pretty nice. And we have a redundant means of equipping the sword by not throwing away the Boros Elite to get in temporary damage. So 2 cards in hand. If he has a kill spell, I can get him pretty good here, I think. Well, Well, Get him with both. Excuse me. This may be just dead. This is just disgusting. Yeah. Well, that's it's pretty rough. I think we do play out the Isamaru and then retain everything else in our hand. So we ended up not even needing to Brave the Elements this game. If he has a Wrath effect, yeah, you can't even play that untapped. So what have you got? Okay. Is that okay? Yeah, it is. Do you have a threat? No. Okay. Alright, well, that was our event. Yeah, reveal hand. Yeah, we had a pretty disgusting hand. Brave the Elements is why we played it that way. So let's go ahead and log it. We 2-0'd our last game. And I have a feeling Dots is going to take this one down. Playing the same deck he's been playing for the last like 6 or 7 tournaments. Let's see where it's at. Yeah, not looking great. Bitter Blossom's a good one to have against the control. Unless he can get rid of it. Let's see where this one's at. Poor Doc Pringles has played the same matchup every game. Oh, that's a strong one, too. Allow him to get a Wrath effect out of his hand or something along those lines. Well, he's going to get to draw at least. Well, that's a good answer to Chandra, unless he has a counter spell. If he does not, he can follow it up with like a 1-mana threat. Nope, looks like that's not happening. Or he's going to cycle, utilizing his Desolate Lighthouse for bid, discarding 2 cards. Yeah, it's probably good enough. Phyrexian Furnace. Interesting choice in cards for the deck. Maybe this is pre-boarded? I don't know. This should get him within 2 turns, though. This game looks quite handily won. A Gush. Yeah, I don't think that's going to do it here. That would be game, I think. Unless he's like a Path to Exile. Swords to Plowshares, stay alive. Alright, so Doc got him that game. Vindicate on top. Yeah. Pretty rough. Pretty rough. Trying to think of ways that Maluk could get around it. Well, that'll get likely blown up by the blast miner. Does he have a wrath effect just to stay alive a little longer? I would assume so. No. Okay, well, okay. I mean, he could just vindicate it. What he really needs is like an austere command. Like a austere command naming enchantments and creatures under 3. Creatures under CMC 3 and then enchantments. Could do well here. Yeah, vindicate, probably targeting the Faith's Fetters. Although, could target land too. I think Faith's Fetters is probably the right answer, though. No, he gets the land, okay. He may just have another answer. I mean, he has the answer just in beatdown. Keeps him off Wrath, I guess. Because Wrath would just stall this game out. For a while, at least. Then Bitter Blossom would do its thing and start taking over the game. As it's designed to do in control matchups. It's just very good against other control decks. And it's efficient. 2 mana, pretty good. That's why you never see like Goblin Assault or Goblin, whatever that card. I think it's Goblin Assault. I think it's a 3 mana version of Bitter Blossom, but just worse because the creatures have haste, but they're like 1/1s that don't fly. Then again, that card doesn't do 1 damage to you a turn, but I think that's well worth the exchange. Obviously, the one card, the Goblin Assault beats Bitter Blossom every day of the week, but as far as clock goes, but I don't think you have enough time for that, man. I think you're pretty close to dead this turn. So he's do 9, and he's got 8. So you're down to 1. I mean, if he just has burn, you lose. There's a Garruk on top. Seems good. I mean, it doesn't really lengthen the clock. The question becomes, did you find white mana? No, you did not. And the ability to wipe this board. I guess you don't need the white mana. You make 2 white off that. Wrath? Nice. Okay, well, I mean, that's a start. There's still obviously a Blossom in play, which is, not good. Need to deal with that thing. Well, it's a decent number of threats. But it is obviously still lethal. You have another Wrath effect. Yeah, I mean, I guess you stay alive for 1 more turn. You really need an answer to the Blossom. And now you're going to have a Garruk making 2/2s every turn, unless you can counter it. So what is the best sequence here? Alright, the best sequence is this. Negate on Garruk, play white land after drawing it, because he didn't play a land this last turn. Cast Austere Command, naming Bitter Blossom. That's the best line, I think. Naming Bitter Blossom, then under 3 CMC. Takes the damage. Play around days makes sense. Alright, here's the first part. Negate or miscalc, okay. And austere command? Or no? Or concession? Concession. Okay. Unless he has, like, fogs. Definitely does have burn in that deck. Could have cryptic command? No. Well, I'm very confused at this point. I don't know what. Comeuppance? Oh, good games. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that's Dot's game. And I think, oh, we still have these gentlemen playing right here. So Dots took it down. I don't like warmth in the board or in the main. Warmth is not a card you want in this matchup. You don't really care about your life total, nor do they. They don't care until they're winning. Warmth is good in the red deck wins matchup. He'll gain a bunch of life, but I just don't see it being relevant. I don't know. Maybe it is. Like I don't see the red. What do you use Vandal Blast on? Does that thing cycle? What did he hit with that? Why is it in the graveyard? I am so... Oh, okay, is it Charm? Got it. Alright, he discarded... Actually, he's probably wishing he had it now because Smuggler's Copter, it's a hell of a drug. That card wins games like no one's business. Sower of Temptation. Well, that's moderately interesting. I mean, he's kind of banking that ML is not going to be able to present a threat next turn that allows activation of the Smuggler's Copter. I don't think that's a card I like in this matchup, Sower, that is. Although, then again, ML does kind of play a lot of dead cards in there. Like, he has, like, what is the card called? Reverent Silence. Whatever that, like, the 2 white and a 1 anti-artifact, anti-enchantment card is. I don't think that's good. I think if you wanted to, you could play it in your board. But, like, even then, like, I still think it's poor. That's pretty good. That stops the Smuggler's Copter. That was a good rip. Although, I think he would have been better off to have played that last turn if he had the option between that and Sower, unless he just top-decked it. No, do you counter it? There's a good one. Do you have the burn is the question. If he doesn't have the burn here, this is the card that actually done a lot of work for me this tournament. The games I've won, this card has been involved generally in one of the 2 games in a match. To pretty spectacular result when attached to a double striking Student of War. That was just silly. Pretty funny, though. Yeah, I think it did like, what is that? It's like 4, 6, it's 12 damage. yeah, it's essentially 8 power attacker plus 2 4 power hits from a sword, and drawing 2 cards simultaneously. Pretty disgusting. Well, I guess the race is on. I guess warmth may be relevant. I don't know. Subterranean tremors. Well, that helps the race certainly. It is active now too, so there's no attacks, and the sower cannot favorably block. Counter magic's offline. You use multiple burn spells. Brave the elements. There it is. That's a card that was actually protecting us pretty well in our last matchup as well. I think that is the only combat trick I run in my deck. I tend to like to be more creature centric. That card is just so powerful. It can win you the game just randomly against monochromatic decks or against decks that only have certain colors of blockers back. It can protect an equipment attachment, which is actually it comes into play a lot more than you'd think. Protecting the ability, protecting basically your mana. Your use of mana is generally protected by Brave the Elements. If the opponent's playing well, the opponent plays well, they're using the removal at the time and place that forces you to waste the most mana and time. And that's kind of why I've really liked that card. Just a handy instant. I guess you could also have Stave Off or Apostle. Actually, Apostle's Blessing is probably the better of the two because it can cost 1 and 2 life at the same time. Wonder why he burned the. Wonder why he didn't burn face. I guess if he found a burn spell, he wanted to burn off the threat. I don't know. Seems a little bit loose to me. But then again, like that card loses a lot of utility once there's a pump effect like Spear of Heliod. Well, do you have another one? Huh. Yeah, it looks like he does. Oh, Sulfur Elemental. Cool. I mean, Sulfur Elemental and this thing. I don't think his deck is aggro enough to really go this route. I mean, could he do attack here? Or just sit back and kind of wait? Because Sulfur Elemental is negated by the sphere or Spear of Heliod. No threat though. Interesting. Well, he can attack if he wants to lose a card for free, essentially. More land for him. Assume he has counter magic in hand, which means he's probably going to try to sit behind it and find a relevant planeswalker threat. If he drops a Chandra here, that could be game over. Would be a game over, rather. Bone Splitter, ye old Bone Splitter. Yeah, I think he plays too many boots in this. I think you don't want as many combat tricks and as many pump effects like Spear of Heliod. You just want threats. You want threats, and you want threats that have like half-card advantages. When I say half-card advantage, I mean cards like stand by one. I'm terrible with card names, guys. Like this guy. Like he's a threat, not a very good one, but he has more than a half-card effect. That's actually a very good effect. This guy, if you have enough soldiers, which this deck does, it's great. I've never had this guy's effect to be randomly good, but it could be. It could be randomly good in some matchups. This card, I mean, it's just a bomb, right? But half-card effects, this is the guy I'm talking about. Like Mardu War Reaper. There's like a randomly great... sometimes I don't use the ability, right? Like sometimes you just don't want to use it because you have cards like this guy where you just don't use it. But it can be randomly great against Reanimator. It can be randomly great against Burn. But it's just a half-card effect. This one has a similar one too. Drive Militant. So flashback cards. It's just great against. Possibly like like Snapcaster Mage, stuff like that. Those are kind of the cards I'm talking about when I say half card effects. With like your cheap cards. I think it's a lot better than Pump. This is big. This is probably game actually. Doc Pringle's got him. I think he got him. because that thing's going to get mono huge. Yeah, I don't see a way ML gets out of this now. I missed the Aetherling. But the reason I actually it's funny that this card comes up now because what I've been mentioning is that like over these turns where he's been dead drawing, he could have been drawing like little half card threats that would have been big enough to outgrow the Sulfur Elemental and start smashing in there um, to force some favorable blocks. Actually, once this is in play, I think Sulfur Elemental is almost better for ML Berlin. Okay, well, there's a Gideon's a Lawkeeper, which can actually keep Law pretty well against the Aetherling. I think what you're going to see here is he's going to want to... I think he should have executed a pretty robust beatdown with this thing. He's going to counter this. Interesting. Well, I guess it makes sense. Yeah, memory lapse it. I think he should have probably beat down a little harder last turn, though, with this card. I think you just want to close the game out. Excuse me, until ML, or before ML can get out of it. And it's cheap to exile Aetherling. 1 mana. The new and improved Morphling. If only Morphling was still a good card, though. I mean, it still is. I still love that card in my heart, but, it's been definitely outgrown by the threats that are available nowadays. The days of beatdown blue are kind of dead. They're not, pushing cards like Ophidians. Well, they're not pushing, like, the creatures are so pushed, and blue does not tend to get pushed creatures. You have like Geist of St. Traff. The last time blue was really pushed, like counter magic was cheap and good, was when Delver was a thing, in my opinion. Now there are some control decks that use it, but they're not tier 1 standard decks. You don't see it getting printed as much anymore. Whereas you see, plenty of cards like Siege Rhinoceroses, etc. You just exile it, take it out of the battlefield. Yeah, so in these cards too, like Celestial Flare, I do not think is good enough for this deck. I don't like that card. Then again, I may not run enough removal, although I did just add the Parallax Wave. I think Parallax Wave, and for any of the white players that are watching this video and interested in like my take on White Weenie or Death, I call it Death and Taxes because I think I tend to play it a little differently. I feel like I can win, 13 and 14 turn games against players like Doc Pringles, like you saw in the first game, and still win. And I think the way you do that is by understanding the meta and by hating them out. I mean, obviously, you could always mold into oblivion like you saw in our second game. We molded into oblivion one game and then just, had some, frankly, I think some poor variance, on our land drops. And our opponent had some pretty favorable variance on hitting his after being Geddoned. I think we hit 2 4-drops and a 3-drop. So, I mean, that happens. But I guess more so back to the point is that when you're playing this deck, I think you need to have a decent... It's an aggro control deck, right? Like, whereas, like, ML's, I think, is, like, starting to merge into an aggro control deck, but I don't think it has the right elements to win in that fight. Like, you still need to be aggressive, but you also want to have the ability to beat the decks that White Weenie should, frankly, not have any chance of beating, which would include the control decks, the Azorius control decks of the world. Yep. It would include, like, the red-blue decks, which is, like, frankly, I think he's whomping on them right now. I don't think ML can win this. And it's too bad because I mean I think if you have a card like Parallax Wave, like this thing is a blank for many turns. You just take a token off, it goes away, you attack in. Take a token off, every turn you're just taking a token off. It gives you essentially 3 turns doing that. Well, there is the beatdown. Yep. And is that lethal? Very close. You could just have... Yeah. That's exactly lethal. Okay, and Doc Pringles gets him, which means we may have gone to second. I don't know. But, guys, I think that's the end of the series, or this series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, White Weenie. Here's the deck. And, it's a deck that a lot of folks are playing. I like to think, and maybe I'm just being vain, that I in a way, popularized the deck a bit more than it had been previously. I think it is a Tier 1 deck. I think it does have tough matchups, like green mid-range. But I think if you build it right, I think you can definitely go the distance. Differing builds of this deck have gone the distance for me. I think this specific deck, not in this current setup, but like within I'd say 6 cards, and that includes the whole 115. Has taken down 4 events, I want to say. But very fun deck, very cool deck. Didn't have a lot of time to put a new one together, although I have been working on one. So if I do get to play next weekend, which I may not, I think I'm going to be traveling. I'll be doing that. I'll be doing a new deck that you guys have not seen yet, or you haven't seen me play yet. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if this is a format that interests you, then I encourage you to join us. This event is called the Chainsaw Massacre. It is a player-run event. It is a free event, and it can be found on gatherling.com. We play the event at 15:30, I believe it is Eastern Standard Time, or maybe 14:30 now Eastern Standard Time. Regardless, go to gatherling.com, look up the Chainsaw Massacre, go to the MTG Salvation linked blog, and the rules and start timer on there as well for entry. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and take care.